We are going to begin with unit number 4. This unit gives much information about a lot of things, but in this class I am going to concentrate on two things. Number one, I will discuss and explain have to and have got to, which are part of the modal verbs, their meaning, their form, and their uses, and how they are different. Number two, I will teach you, and this is for the first time, one thing, which is how to write a model paragraph. Because possibly now, if the final exam is not electronic, then you are going to be asked to write a 5-line paragraph about a given topic. Let's now begin with part number 1 of this class, which is have to. Now, when we talk about have to, now you have to remember a number of things. Number 1, which is the form of have to, because for have to in terms of form has the form of have to. The second, has to, and the third, had to. Now these are the forms of have to. Either you use have to, I have to do this or that, he has to arrange his time better, they had to do something which was very formal in the past. Now these are examples on the form of have to. Now the use of have to. Now when we talk about the use of have to, we are going to give things related to the meanings of have to. And how do we use have to? Number 1, have to stands for a strong obligation. Strong obligation, which means that a sentence with have to or has to or had to means that it is very necessary that you do something. It is indispensable that you do something, that you must do the thing you are talking about. Now this is called a strong obligation. Obligation is a noun. The verb, the adjective is obligatory. And the verb we are obliged to. Obliged to. Now this is the verb, or this is the adjective, or this is the noun. So when we use have to and its forms, we talk about a strong obligation. For example, I say, they have to work very hard if they want to succeed. So in this case, success is strongly based on hard work. Success is strongly based on hard work. Therefore now you are strongly obliged to study hard if you want to succeed. This is called a general obligation. B, now we talk about obligation which is based on law. Obligation which is based on general authority. We talk about obligation which is based on the authority of somebody else. Of somebody else. Now, this is now. So number 1, it means a strong obligation. B, it means general obligation. The obligation which is based on law. the authority which is based on somebody else. For example, we say, the doctor says, I have to go on hard diet if I want to lose weight. Now, this is called general authority, or the authority of law, or the authority of somebody else. So if you want to lose weight, now, if you want to be thinner and more slim, now the doctor says, I have to go on hard diet. I have to be less heavy, so less fat. Now this is number B. The third meaning of have to, is we talk about impersonal. And we mean by impersonal that it is based not on my opinion. It is based on the opinion of others. For example, we say, police have to increase fines if they want to listen. Listen comes from the word less. The verb is listen, becomes less accidents. Which means if the police wants accidents to be less and less, in this case, they have to increase fines. They have to increase the money which drivers are punished based on. So these three things are A and B and C are the uses of have to. Generally speaking, now we talk about obligation, strong obligation, general obligation, and we talk about obligation which is impersonal. Still one more point that we must talk about regarding have to. Now, which is have to can be used in all forms. And we can use it as have to or has to, as we said here now, or had to in the past, or we can use it will have to, or we can use it having to in the case of the gerund, having to. Now, let's give examples on had to. We say, they had to spend 3 nights on the beach to save courage. So we use had to in the past. We can use will have to. We talk about I'll have to retell you the truth in case you are honest. So we talk about will have to. So we can make it in the past, we can make it in the future, we can use it in the present simple tense with the third person, he and she in it. And we can talk also about having to. We say, for example, I hate having having to be liar. I hate having to be a liar. So in this case now, we can use the form of having to. Now, these are the forms which can be used with have to. Once again, to repeat what we said, now we talked about have to, which means obligation. From it we can take the adjective obligatory. We can take the noun obligation. We can take the verb obliged to. Now, and we said that it has the form of have to, has to, had to, all forms, and in the infinitive and in the gerund. Now, also now we can talk about its uses. Use number one, we talk about strong obligation. Use number two, we talk about obligation based on the authority of law or rule or somebody else. Number three, we talk about impersonal use of have to, which is now not related to the person, him or herself. Now, we talked also about how to use the future have to, with the gerund have to, and the past of have to. Now, there is something related to have to, which is have got to. Have got to. Now, you must have in mind that have to and have got to, has to and has got to, had to and had got to. Now, all of them are related in meaning. Yeah, they are the same in meaning. They are different only in one thing, which is have to is common in all English languages. But now when we talk about have got to, it is common in British English. So this is specific to British English speakers. Number two, now when we talk about have to, we talk about using have to in writing, in written English. But usually have got to and its forms are used in spoken English. So these are spoken, or this one is written. Also we talk about have got to, which is used to be informal. So we use it in informal languages. But when we talk about have to, we talk about it in formal English language. Well, these are the differences. So therefore we say, I've got to go to work on Fridays, which means I have to go to work on Fridays, but this is informal. This is used in spoken English, or this is British English, not American. Okay, now we can talk about she has got to do the right. Well, this is again informal variety of English, used in British English more than in American and other dialects English. We use it now also in informal speech. Now, we talk about she had got to sleep 3 hours at that night, which means she was obliged to sleep 3 hours at that night. These are now the differences between have to and have got to. Again, they are similar in meaning, but have to is used in written English, has got to is used in spoken English, have to is used as formal, has got to is used as informal language. Number three, we can talk about the formality of the language. Okay, now this is about the uses of have to and its forms. Now the second part of the class begins, which is how I will teach you how to write a model paragraph, because we said the writing is part of the skills of the language we are teaching to students, so we will teach you how to write a simple paragraph. At the same time, it is modeling and how to begin it, how to form it. Writing a paragraph demands 2 steps. Step number 1, regarding the form. Step number 2, regarding the way we write it. Let's begin with the form of the paragraph. Now, let's assume that this board is the page of the paper. So now, number 1, we are going to lift a margin like this from the very beginning. We do not write here at all. Number 2, we are going to write the title like this, and we put a line under this title. For example, we are going to talk about happiness. Happiness. So you write in the middle of the page the word happiness like this, and we put a line under it. If the title is made up of more than one vocabulary item, yani more than one word, more than one lexical item, we write all the words beginning with capital letters. For example, happiness of the small letter, children. Children begins with capital letter. Happiness of children. Okay. And we put a line under it. Now, we come to this margin which is made to the left, and we leave a space like this. We begin not from this line, we begin from here. And this, we leave it like this. Now, let's begin now with happiness. Now, it is now known to all of us that the subject we are talking about is happiness. Therefore now, everything which is found inside the body paragraph is going to be about happiness, not about any other topic. Therefore now, we begin with the first line. With the first line expresses about all the subject we are going to write about, which is happiness. We say, for example, there are several sources of happiness. Now, this is called the topic sentence. This is called the thematic sentence, the sentence which is related to the theme. We call it the main idea. Then we call it topic sentence. We call it thematic sentence. We call it main idea. So the main idea is written, and you can find it in the first line, which is called the topic sentence. After that, now any person now who sees the title would know that the topic we are talking about is happiness. Or anybody who reads sentence number 1 would learn automatically that we are talking about, the topic talks about the sources of happiness. Now, we are going now to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any number of sources of happiness that somebody now can write on the board now to develop this paragraph. So each sentence you write from now on to develop the main or the topic sentence is called developer. Why? Because we develop the main idea. Let's begin now with the first developer. Now, we say we can find first, and you must know, you must see that the first line of the sentence, now we make indentation, yani we leave a space from the margin to the left about a size of a word. But the second line begins from here, not under the word there, from the beginning of the page. Therefore now we say first, people can find happiness when they achieve their goals. Which means that when somebody achieves, fulfills what he admires to do, in this case, he gets happy. This is the first source of happiness. For example, we say, for example, a person who admires to be a doctor becomes very happy or very pleased when he achieves this. And you must have in mind also, and you must observe that you can use words now which are similar in meaning. Yeah, not all the time you are going to say happy, happily, happiness. For example, now the word pleased means happy. So we say now a doctor becomes very pleased instead of saying becomes very happy. So therefore now we use the word pleased. Also, instead of saying achieves, and in line number 2 we say achieve. Now instead of using the word more than one time, you can use its synonym, and a word that is similar in meaning. You can say when he fulfills. When he fulfills this, and when this comes through. So you can now exhibit your vocabulary. And you can use different words which have similar meaning. This makes your topic and your paragraph using various words and styles and this. This is now number 1. Now if there is a space like this, you can use it. You can write second, which means second. The second source of happiness. Second. Now we talk about people. They can also feel happiness or feel happy if they get more money and become wealthy. Wealthy means rich. When they have wealth, so they also become happy. Now you can now develop it with example or not. For example, you can give a third developer, because we don't have a place to write so many examples. So we say third. They can also be pleased the time they get entertainment. Whether by going to the beach, to parks, to the cinemas, and etc. etc. means etc. Okay? So now, so far now, we talked about three sources of getting happiness. Now, number one, first, people can find happiness when they achieve their goals. Number two, now, when they feel happy if they get more money and become rich. Number three, now if they get entertainment, whether going to the cinema, the beach, etc. And by this we can say that this is a paragraph developed by three developers, so we can finish it and we write finally the more you enjoy your time, you get happier. Now, this is a paragraph, a simple paragraph, which talks about a very limited idea, which is the sources of happiness. It is written in form and in meaning and in content, beginning with the topic sentence, then developed by three developers. This is number one first, with the second is second, with the third is the third one, and we finished the paragraph by the word finally. We summed it up that the more you enjoy your time, that you get happier, and this is called a paragraph developed by analysis and example. Okay? Now I have given you this way to write a simple paragraph because it is possible that if we take the exam, the final exam, in the university, yani we are at the university, in this case you will write a paragraph like this in the exam. Thank you, and see you in the coming class.